by miracle of sound. All right, welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 6, the final episode of Alloy of Law. I am Midnight, your host, and I am here with Mythic.
Hola.
And Darkness.
Hello.
All right. So we start with chapter 19, where we go back to Wax shooting Miles, which causes the coin shot to jump away in concern. As Miles' body heals, it pushes the bullet shells out, and Wax pushes on them to shove Miles across the room. Wax then hurries over to Marassi as Miles shouts out that his men are going to kill Steris. Wayne then comes over to Wax and Marassi, startling them for a moment. Wayne has put up a speed bubble, so Wax and Wayne glance over each other's injuries and worry about whether Miles is telling the truth about having his men go to kill Steris. So at this point, did you think they really had Steris here, or did you think that was a bluff and she was with, like, the other women?
No, I thought it was real.
I mean, I don't remember what I thought at that time, so.
Fair. I had forgotten that Steris was actually here. I was like, oh right, shit, Steris is here. So Wayne then asks about the gun and bullets Wax got from Renette, but Wax had lost the gun in the fight and isn't sure if normal guns can shoot the bullets. Wax then asks Wayne and Marassi to keep Miles busy while he goes after the coin shot. The speed bubble goes down, and Wax uses his Allomancer to shoot the special bullet towards the coin shot. He tries to push it back at him, but the ceramic tip breaks free and continues on at the coin shot, hitting him in the eye and dropping him. So what did you think about Renette's special bullet tricking the coin shot and thus killing him?
We know where they need to get all their guns from now.
I mean, there's a reason why he specifically wanted to go get shit from Renette.
She's cool.
I love Renette. Renette's pretty great. So once the coin shot was down, Wax hurled himself across the railway tracks and towards a wooden building. He was sure it was a trap, but he didn't care as he felt energetic in the mists. Wax pushes on the nails in the wooden boards as he hurries up the building and breaks through a door at the top floor. Men wearing no metal and using aluminum guns come at Wax, but he shakes the floor under them by pushing on the nails in the floorboards again, causing their shots to go off point as he dodges. Once he gets back to his feet, Wax levels 2 shotguns at the Vanishers who are coming at him and pushes on the bullets as he shoots. This causes Wax to fly out the window, although there was no glass in the windows. Wax pushes off some lampposts outside the building and goes back into the building through a window in a neighboring room. Wax trades his shotguns for revolvers and pushes on the nails in the wall between him and the Vanishers, and then also shoots at any Vanishers who weren't taken down by the nails. Wax then hears someone at the door to the room who is in, and he pushes on the doorknob, causing it to rip free of the door and slam into the Vanisher on the other side. Wax then pushes on the levers inside his shotguns to spit out the casings, which he then pushes on to shoot at the remaining Vanishers nearby. Suddenly there is gunfire from below Wax, exploding the floor near him. Wax runs off through the room, firing down at the men below him. What do you think about Wax's fight here with the Vanishers?
He needs more practice, obviously.
Yeah, he's definitely not very good at this, just taking down a whole group of them.
The mist, doing their little thing each time is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh my god, the mist take care of me. What's that?
Which is literally just Harmony being like, hey dude, I need you to get through this for me.
Right. Picking favorites and all that.
Yup. What did you think about Wax's fight, Mythic?
I mean, I agree with Darkness. More practice needed. Totally. But, I mean, it was
Even
okay, I
with
guess.
his thing he does later with the double bullet shot?
Meh.
Oh my god, I think that's badass.
I'm not gonna lie. I found
Why
that
would
kind
you
of
lie?
cliche. But
Why would you lie?
I thought it was so badass.
I knew you would, but I generally
I knew you would, but...
I honestly it felt to me like it shouldn't work that way.
Well, we'll get to it when we get there. But first of all, Wax eventually bursts into a windowless room where he finds Steris and Noxil, the kidnapped gunsmith. Wax throws one of the guns at the gunsmith, who states he isn't a very good shot. However, Wax then asks if he can swim. The man replies that he can, so Wax pushes on the gun in Noxil's hands to shoot him outside and into a canal. Wax asks Steris about the other women, but Steris replies that they seem to have been sent somewhere else. Wax then grabs Steris and pushes them into the air, shooting a hole through the ceiling before pushing them up through it. Wax then uses hundreds of hours of stored weight to make himself incredibly heavy as he pushes down on every bit of metal he can sense in the building. The building rips apart beneath him and collapses on itself, and the tunnel beneath it. Wax drops them back down into the tunnel and sees a few Vanishers who hadn't been in the building and immediately shoots them. When he glances at Steris, she seems more aroused than terrified as she swears by the survivor. So what do you think about Wax destroying the whole fucking building?
That was cool.
Also, what do you think about Steris' reaction to being saved by Wax?
I feel like she needed a little more, oh my god!
Well, The building part was great. That's cool.
Yeah, like the stairs was really turned on apparently by
It
Wax
was
showing off.
okay. You don't have to say
It was
that.
very. It was definitely very weird that like it all through this book and then all of a sudden that. I don't know.
It's like, oh, okay, Steris. So Miles then calls out to Wax, and he hands Steris one of his guns and tells her to run towards the nearest precinct and to shoot the gun if she runs into any vanishers so that he knows that she's in danger. Steris tries to say something, but Wax instead pushes on the gun in her hands to shoot her back up into the streets above. Miles continues to call for Wax as Wax makes his way through the dark tunnel. Eventually, Wax can see Miles and can also see that he's holding Marassi at gunpoint. However, after a moment, he realizes it isn't Miles holding onto Marassi, but the pewter arm. So what do you think Steris was going to say to Wax before he just pushed her away?
I love you.
What
I love you.
do you think she was going to say, Darkness?
My bad.
You're bad. That's what you thought. Okay.
No. I had to me for a second. Honestly, maybe you're not that far off.
Also, what did you think about Marassi being held at gunpoint just like Lessie had been in the prologue?
Oh, that part.
I forgot all about the prologue, to be honest.
He should have just shot her.
Wow.
I mean, been there, done that, right?
So Miles threatens to have Tarson shoot Marassi if Wax doesn't reveal himself. Wax realizes this is his only chance at saving Marassi is to shoot Tarson. However, he has flashbacks to shooting Lessie when trying to shoot Bloody Tan while he was holding Lessie at gunpoint. Wax shouts for Wayne to put up a speed bubble, and he raises his arm to steady it at Tarson, feeling strong just like he had when he shot Lessie. Wax knows he needs to shoot Tarson in the head, since the man with both Colas-blooded and a pewter arm. However, he didn't have a good shot at the man's head due to the man being quite short since he was still young for a Kolos. Kolos-blooded men continue to grow their whole lives, so you could tell their age from their height generally. So what do you think about the fact that Kolos-blooded people still grow until they die? Even if they don't do apparently the transformation that we learn about in Allomancer Jack.
But they don't, like, grow as big as.
I'm assuming they don't grow as big, yeah, but you can apparently still tell their height from their age, or their age from their height.
That's pretty cool. Because it's not like not taking transformation is going to hinder you that much. If your goal was to get strength.
What do you think, Mythic, about
I mean, I found it really cool that they grow constantly. You know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's like, oh yeah, this guy's like 5'2", so I guess he's around this age, or like this guy's 6 foot, so he's probably around this age. So Wax.
They go like way past like normal human standards, though, right?
I'm assuming Kolos-blooded people don't go as far above normal human standards, but the full-on transformed Kolos definitely do. I think full-on transformed Kolos probably get to like 10 to 20 feet, whereas I'm assuming like a Kolos-blooded person would maybe get to like 7 feet tall.
On average?
I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm assuming it's something like that. Where like
You mean it's not in the Cosmere? What the
You're
heck?
telling me that
I
all
could
these bitches
check.
need to be basketball players?
Kolos-blooded. Kolos-blooded. It does. Yeah, we do not, as far as I can tell, have a size that they kind of get to when
That's
they're old.
disappointing. I wonder if somebody's calculated the proportions of their body. Anyway.
Yeah, just kind of stuff that we get from this book and from Allomancer Jack, as far as I can see, which is when two Kolos reproduce, their offspring are born Kolos-blooded. Apparently, it does say here, though, that they can also breed with humans and produce Kolos-blooded hybrids. And then you can become a
What?
full Kolos once you choose to accept spikes. So yes, Kolos can breed with humans in the post-Catasandra era of Mistborn.
That's scary. How do you do that?
I mean, probably pretty similarly to how you do it with a normal human.
Nuh-uh,
They're
not
just
with that
extra
size.
angry. They're just
Bunch
extra
of monster
angry.
fuckers. Yeah, all these bunch of monster fuckers. I swear, God.
They would probably need the hospital after that, but okay.
They definitely wouldn't be able to walk.
Again. Ever.
And they have notable Kolos at the end of this, which is human from Mistborn Era 1. And then Elisandra from Allomancer Jack, Granite Joe,
Granted, Joe.
which you guys have not met yet. And
Uh,
Well, what was the guy's name? I know he's not a Kolos, but what's the guy's name from? I'm pretty sure it was Warbreaker. That the dead guy or whatever that they kept.
they kept calling him. Fuck, what did they call him? His real name was Yessteel, but I forget what they kept calling him.
they called him Lathander.
They did not call him
Uh,
Commander.
Lathander.
I don't remember what they called him, but his real name was or no,
Did
it was
it not start with
Arsteel.
an R? L? I mean, I sorry, it started with an L.
Look up Arsteel. Coppermine. What did they call him once he became a? Oh, Claude. They called him Claude.
There you go.
Yeah, and then also we have Tarzan. It's a notable Koloss.
Tarzan.
Koloss blood. Tarzan.
Tarzan.
So Wax shoots his gun while still in the bubble, watching it go into slow motion as it leaves the bubble while also going off the path Wax had shot it. Wax then tells Wayne to put down the bubble on his command, and then as the speed bubble drops, he shoots a second time, pushing on the bullet so that it hits the first bullet and slams into Tarzan's head as it goes around Marassi. Marassi and Miles are both shocked by Wax dropping Tarzan, although Wayne just complains about Wax hitting his lucky hat. So what did you think about Wax being able to, like, ricochet his one bullet off the other by pushing on it and shooting it out of a speed bubble?
Seen it so many times.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you have.
A lot of movies do it.
It's actually
not
not that
bullet off another
common,
bullet. Yeah.
Do they?
but
I feel like this
yeah.
one's if you had like these powers, it's a little more realistic though in this situation than it would be in real life.
I feel like though, is it not?
So I don't think you could do it in real life because like unless you somehow shoot the second bullet close, because like the two bullets should generally travel at the same speed unless one like hits something. Unless you're shooting from like opposite directions. Because like the only reason he's able to get his bullet to hit the other bullet is because he can push on it to make it go faster.
Well, it depends if the bullet you shoot first is gonna ricochet. You're right, but like yeah, if it depends if it's gonna ricochet first.
What do you mean if it's gonna hit
Well, if it
something?
ricochets off something, right? And
Well,
then
yeah,
you aim for
if it
that
hits
bullet
something
itself.
else, I guess you could, 'cause then it slows down. But like, in order to do this exact situation, you pretty much have to have Allomancy.
No, but I mean like it's not just like a a real life situation. Obviously, like a bunch of movies and like stuff like that have done similar things or the same thing with different ideas. I guess it's just for me, that's not the whole thing. Like that's pretty cool and everything. I wish it just kept the like bullets from I wish it kept like the bullets going haywire, like an unstoppable thing.
Well, the thing was, he had to wait for the other bullet to go haywire so that he could judge how he was gonna hit it.
No, I know, but like I didn't want there to be something like around to cover that. Like I would have preferred it to just stay something unsolvable. That
I think
way,
it's still really difficult to do.
but can you imagine where you're like, ah, fuck it, I'm gonna machine gun this fucking area, and then one of the bullets is gonna hit. Like that would have been cool, but like, I mean, I guess he solved it. Hey.
So Miles aims to shoot Wax, but Wax shoots him in the hand first and then shoots away Miles' gun as it drops to the ground. Miles angrily shouts about Wax continuing to knock away his weapons. Wax then begins shooting Miles in the face multiple times as he tells Wayne to go for the backup plan. Miles begins trying to head towards Marassi as he continues to get shot. Wax now just pushing bullets and his empty gun at the man. Wax then shoves Miles to the ground and punching him repeatedly in the face to try to keep Miles distracted. Miles eventually kicks Wax off of him and then goes over to continue beating on him as he says he used to think like Wax, but felt it growing dissatisfaction. Wax suddenly feels the extent of his injuries, unsure if his adrenaline had just worn out or if the miss had kept him from feeling the pain for a while. Wax tries to hit Miles back, but Miles doesn't even flinch. Miles tells Wax there are people being murdered every day, but that Wax doesn't seem to care about that. Wax states that Miles is trying to invoke the survivors' mandate, that they aren't like the people of the Final Empire. They're better than the nobles of those times. Wax states the powerful men of these times try to put laws into place to protect people, they just fall short sometimes. Miles, however, says that Wax is just a tool and that it destroys him, he can't help everyone, which Wax agrees with. Wax thinks that Miles would have been a hero in the times of the Final Empire. So what did you think about Wax's distraction of Miles by basically just getting beat up?
Wax is getting beat up, right?
Yeah.
I guess Wayne's not the only one who's into that kind of thing.
What did you think about Wax's distraction, Mythic?
I don't know. Wax is just not that interesting to me. I like Wayne way better.
Also, do you think Miles is a good or a bad person?
Wait, which one's Miles? Miles is the bad guy, right? The guy who's
Miles
been
100
stealing
Lives,
all
who
these
says that
yeah,
he's trying
I think he's a great person.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful person. Yeah.
You agree to
Especially in the end.
Especially as he's getting shot down
Firing
by
squad?
a firing squad, yeah.
I mean, what's he really doing wrong?
Kidnapping women.
Okay, but he's not.
For Mr.
hurting-
Sue, I think it's Mr. Suit's fault, not him.
I don't know. I think Miles could choose not to be involved with Mr. Suit.
I don't think he could. After what he said in the end, I don't think so.
Well, we'll get
I think
there.
I think he was destined to be this person.
So Marassi then gets Miles' attention, stating that Wax was a better man than Miles, and that she was going to take Miles down. Miles just laughs at first and said anyone she brought here would be too late, until he sees the edges of a large speed bubble. Miles begins running for the edges of it, but it's too late. Marassi drops her bubble and the light of full day enters the room. A force of over 100 constables, led by Wayne in a constable disguise, were also revealed. The constables surround Miles and force him down to the ground as they tie him up. The backup plan had worked. They had eliminated all of the vanishers so that no one could notice the speed bubble and take Wax or Marassi out as they distracted Miles from within the speed bubble. Miles screams to be released as Wax tells Miles that he forgot the first rule of roughs, that you need someone to rely on. So what did you think about the use of Marassi's Allomancer to capture Miles?
Well, that's cool. I expected it, not gonna lie, but that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I expected her to like kill
Use it at
herself
some
like
point?
that, though. To be honest.
Oh, kill herself?
Yeah, I thought like she was gonna speed time up completely until he aged to like a ridiculous amount or some shit. That's what I thought was gonna happen, but I was like, I know she's gonna use her abilities. Like,
Yeah, so she basically just, Wayne got out of her bubble, she put up the bubble, and gave him enough time to go get a bunch of constables to show up so they could capture Miles. And luckily her speed bubble's big enough that it's hard to notice if you're not, like, looking at the edges of the room.
I do agree with Mythic's thing where, like, I thought it was gonna be, like, on a larger scale where the time was gonna wait, but...
Yeah, she just did, like, half a day or something. So I think they were there at night, and then it was, like, noon or something by the time they broke the speed bubble. Yeah, apparently she can do, like, 12 hours, though, in, like, seems like probably, like, 5 minutes or less. I don't know how long Miles was beating Wayne up for, or Wax up for. But I'm assuming it wasn't, like, a super long period of time. Also, what did you think about Miles getting captured by the constables instead of kind of, like, taken out somehow by Wax and Wayne?
Wait, what was the question?
What do you think
really
about Miles?
kill him, so.
What do you think about Miles getting captured by the constables instead of like Wax and Wayne somehow figuring out a way to defeat him?
I mean, it's a simpler solution.
Sorry,
And clearly, with what we saw happens at the execution,
I mean,
they
yeah.
wouldn't have.
I mean, pretty much, it seems like the only way to kill him is basically to get rid of his metal mines. And what better way to get rid of his metal mines than to capture him with over 100 people and just start ripping them out of him?
Yeah, 100 lives and 100 people. You know.
So we go to.
I mean, I just assumed either she was gonna make him really, age or something, or they were gonna like kill him 100 times. You know.
Well, the thing, the way to do that would be like if he was outside her bubble.
Yeah, because the thing is, time would actually be slower. The time is slower inside the bubble, so it'd have to be Wayne doing it for like Miles to age. Because technically, Marassi's aging slower than everyone else whenever she uses her bubble.
My brain after listening to Allomancer Jack, my brain don't work.
So then we move to chapter 20, and we skip forward in time to Wax and Marassi at the constable's office. Wax feels horrible with all of his injuries, and Marassi is hovering protectively nearby. One of the constables, Reddy, states that Wayne won't be charged for impersonating a constable, and Marassi states the Constable General should be glad to have Wax and Wayne's help, and Reddy reluctantly replies that the Constable General does seem to be happy about it. Wax isn't sure why the Constable General is so calm, but he's glad for it. Wax then tells Marassi that what she feels for him won't work out, and Marassi awkwardly stumbles over her words, insisting she didn't think anything would happen between them. Wax thinks if he had been 10 years younger, including not having those 10 years of experience in life, he may have been interested in her. However, he has too many emotional scars. So what do you think about Wax rejecting Marassi here?
Not a shock at all.
I was kind of surprised. I thought he was gonna go for it.
Nope, not interested. Unlike what Wayne thought.
I mean, I think he is interested. He just chose not to.
Well, he says that like a past version of him probably would have been interested in her, but he's like, she's not the type of person I would want to be with at this point in my life. After everything he went through with Lessie and like all that stuff, he's like, I don't think she's the type of person who's good for me anymore, or that I could be there for.
So, well, he lost a girlfriend and now he can't fucking get another one that's actually good for him.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she does remind him a lot of her, so.
Mm-hmm. But he doesn't want another.
I thought Lessie. It was the other girl that reminded him of her.
No, he says Marassi reminds him of Lessie.
Oh.
Yeah, the other girl's just fucking weird. I don't like her.
You don't like Steris?
I don't like her either.
No.
She has a nice little moment here at the end.
I don't like it.
Are we gonna be together? And then give him the option? Is that what you're talking about?
No, when she kind of she said, we'll get to it. I'll explain that. So the Constable General Breton then comes over to Wax, stating he's deputizing him and backdating it to partially allow Wax to continue to work for the law if he wishes, but also to not let the public know that Wax is working without the constables knowing. Wax thanks him. Breton also says that he is likely to retire soon, and this will allow Wax to work by himself and with the constables if he wishes, even after Breton retires. Unless he abuses his privileges, and then it would be revoked. So what do you think about Wax being able to properly work with the constables now if he wants to?
Honestly, I think it's more a boon for the constables than for him, but, you know.
It really is.
To be fair, though, he can probably also get any information the constables have, so even if he doesn't want to work with them directly, he can still use their resources to help him.
He would have been able to use them anyway because of fucking Wayne.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's a lot less work, though, now.
I mean, I like how they say, oh, you won't get charged for impersonating a constable. Motherfucker, he's going to do it again. Doesn't matter.
But technically now, I think Wayne's also deputized. So technically, he's not impersonating an officer because he's technically an officer now. He's impersonating a different officer, but he's still an officer. So it's not a crime.
It's just stupid.
It's funny. I love that.
It's more like them just trying to cover their own bases. And
I mean, it's definitely probably
it doesn't help them at all. It doesn't help Wayne or Wax at all.
I think it has helped them a little bit, but I think it's like 75% more for the constable's benefit than Wax and Wayne's.
Like 99%.
Wayne then comes over, having gone.
You're right because they don't need them like at all.
They don't need them at all. Like even like I don't think one thing that has been said like they ever actually need. They can do that on their own. They can get all that information on their own.
Yeah, Midnight, get it right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wayne then comes over, having gotten one of the aluminum guns and giving it to Wax. Morassi had also found vindication for Wax, which he was glad that after surviving tonight, he wouldn't be killed by Renette for losing vindication, which I find hilarious. Wayne also tells Wax that they recovered the gunsmith alive, although he was very unhappy with how he'd been thrown out of the building. Wax is upset that they had no leads on the other kidnapped women, though, and doubted anyone would be able to successfully interrogate Miles. Starrison leaves the room with two constables as she had been giving her statement. Wax and Wayne had already given theirs, and the constables gestured for Morassi to come next. Wax had told her previously to be straightforward and not to hide anything he and Wax had done, but to not mention Renette if possible. So what do you think about Wax and Wayne trying to, keep Renette's privacy by not involving her in their statements?
That's valid. She deserves it.
Do you agree, Mythic?
Yeah.
I agree. Renette just wants her privacy. She's like, I don't want all these fucking people coming to my door asking for shit.
And then, honestly, if they do that, her work is not going to be as unique because everybody's going to have it.
Yeah, exactly. So Starrison comes over to Wax after Wayne wanders off to talk to some constables. She thanks Wax and states that none of the men touched her indecently, so she is still pure if he still wishes to move forward with the engagement. Wax is glad that the men didn't touch her, but tells her that wouldn't have changed his mind, and he does want to move forward with the engagement, which Starris says they can move up because of Wax's rescue of her. Wax asks if she's okay with him continuing to do law work, and Starris states that neither of them have gotten to this point in their lives and expect the other to change themselves. Starris also admits that she is rather desperate for a union, as her past 3 suitors had in length told her about her faults and why they wouldn't marry her. Some of her cold mask then falls away for a second, and she looks tired and a bit affectionate for Wax as she states that she is not good with people, but that he truly does have her thanks for rescuing her. Starris asks if they'll move forward with the engagement, and Wax takes a second to glance at Morassi, thinking that one of the issues with her was that she was too much like Lessie. Wax then looks back at Starris and agrees to get engaged. So the little nice thing I was saying here is when she kind of drops her kind of facade, and she's like, I really do appreciate you for rescuing me, and I'm really sorry about how bad I am with people, because I've been told by every man I've tried to date that I'm just a shit person, and these are all the reasons they would never date me or marry me.
She is a shit person, so
no.
She's a very shit person. Yes.
Midnight.
I'm trying not to say anything. I have
knowledge.
Thoughts. I have thoughts because of future books, and I will not say anything because you guys are valid in your thoughts of her at this moment.
Okay, now I'm scared of saying anything because I don't want to get canceled.
You're not going to get canceled. No one likes Starris in book 1. Honestly, I don't think many people are a big fan of Starris in Alloy of Law. You obviously know that she has survived, so she's obviously at least in the next book, so I'm just not going to say anything. But yeah, so what do you think about Starris wanting to continue the engagement and her comments about how other men have been very blunt about her faults?
She sounds like she needs a coconut.
What? What does that even mean? What do you mean she needs a coconut?
What's the question?
I said, what did you think about Stairs wanting to continue the engagement? And how
No,
she's, like, kind of traumatized by a bunch of guys being like, fuck you and fuck everything you stand for to her.
that's I mean, they fit well. They both got issues, like deep issues. She still needs that coconut though.
I
Yeah,
don't
she definitely
understand
needs
what
a
you mean by
coconut
the
for sure.
coconut. What does that
She
even
definitely needs a
mean?
coconut. 100%.
I don't understand.
So Midnight. One day in life, you'll get to that point where you just need a coconut.
I don't like
Yeah.
coconut.
Yeah, but that's not a choice. You'll need it.
What if
You're
I
gonna
make the
need the
coconut into
coconut.
Wilson? What if he becomes my friend?
Wilson!
You would need a friend.
I do need a friend. No one loves me.
Mm-hmm.
But also, what do you think about Wax agreeing to the engagement?
Who the fuck is Wax? Oh, that's cool. You do you. But I would have preferred the other girl. But you do you.
What did you think, Mythic, about Wax agreeing to the engagement?
I mean, I guess it's just, what's the I can't think of the word.
It is what it is. What it is.
I don't know. That wasn't what I meant. But it's a situation of circumstance.
Yeah, whatever that means.
As in, he should have been with the other girl. So
He specifically showed he could have been with the other girl. He
no,
specifically
he
chose
couldn't
not to.
have.
He
No, he
definitely
couldn't
could
have.
have.
Oh, he already made the arrangements to be married to this woman.
Yeah, you can't just fall back on it and then have your whole
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
Date the
life
sister instead.
crash.
So we then move on to the epilogue, which I love the epilogue of this book. Honestly, I think it's my favorite chapter in this whole book. So we start with
I
Marassi.
kind of agree with you on that, honestly.
Right? It's such a good chapter. I was like, oh shit, I forgot how hard the epilogue goes in this book. Damn.
There's an epilogue.
So we start with Marassi's point of view as she watches Miles walk to his execution. Marassi thinks that so much had changed in only a couple days, that it felt like she had changed so much. She had been held at gunpoint several times, fallen in love and been rejected, and even worked on the trial against Miles. Now she looked down at him as he stood before a squad of rifles without his metal mines. Even now he seemed to think himself immortal. As the guns fired, Marassi was disturbed to find herself feeling satisfied. What do you think about Marassi being involved in convicting Miles?
I mean, that kind of shocked me, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
She actually got to work with I think it was one of her professors on actually Miles's trial and conviction.
The fucking professors.
I don't remember. I wonder if that was the professor that pretended to be a psychologist.
Yeah, that's what I was
that.
thinking about.
We then switch to Wax's point of view as he boards a train, limping with a cane and still bandaged as it had only been a week since his fight with Miles. He makes his way to the third private carriage in first class and sits in a chair until his uncle comes into the doorway. His uncle asks how Wax found him, and Wax replies that they interrogated some of the vanishers who described Mr. Suit, whom Miles would talk to. Wax is fairly sure he's the only one who recognized Mr. Suit's description. Wax doesn't state that he found the train car, though, by using Miles's notes from his cigar case. So were you surprised that Wax's uncle was Mr. Suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought he was dead, so...
Yeah,
right?
I was dead ass convinced.
It's like,
Get it?
nope.
Dead ass.
Wax's uncle is part of the set. He's Mr. Suit, one of the bad guys of this group. Also, what do you think about the fact that those random numbers they found on Miles' cigar case ended up leading him to being able to find Mr. Suit?
That was the stupidest shit, bro. Like, why would that even be there?
Because Miles was tracking him.
Yeah, and it's so smart of him to put it there. Like, what?
Well, it was something he kept on him at all times.
Just memorize it.
So Waxon asks about his sister, and Edwin replies that she is safe. Wax feels a welling of emotion at hearing that his sister was alive. Waxon also states that having Edwin's butler try to kill him had led him to realizing his uncle was likely still alive. Edwin just replies that Wax wasn't supposed to know who set off the bomb, although he also wasn't supposed to have survived it. So what do you think about Wax's sister still being alive?
Interesting.
I remember them having a sister, to be honest. But
yeah, so his sister apparently also supposedly died in that carriage accident with his uncle. And considering, as far as we know, is his full sister, she potentially also has Allomancer and or ferochemy, because she's probably also half Terrace. Yeah, or both. That's why I said and or. So, for all we know, she could be in the same situation as all the kidnapped women.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So potentially his uncle just sold his niece into human trafficking.
Or that's what they want us to think, which is largely possible considering how easily they came up to the conclusion that it was going to be like a breeding sort of situation.
I mean, Wax is still pretty sure that it's also that. It's just also insurance fraud, apparently.
No, yeah, but like, it's definitely, well, not definitely, but like most likely not going to be just that if it is at all.
It sounds like they've got a lot of stuff they're doing. Yeah. So Wax also asks why he was put in charge of their house, and Edwin just replies that the disease that took their cousin was unfortunate and not well timed, so it was too difficult to change things from Wax being second in line. He had also hoped that Wax would have been more of an asset to him. Wax then asks for the other kidnapped women, but Edwin implies that he doesn't really care about Wax trying to reveal him as part of this. He also isn't as crippled by the Vanishers being taken down as Wax thought he would be. Edwin also says there's no proof that he or his associates took the women, and that he has convinced the Vanishers to lie and say that Miles raped and killed the women that were taken. Wax continues to try to pressure Edwin into turning himself in, but Edwin has no interest in this. Wax also lies that he thinks that Edwin was going to try to extort the families of the women for money. Wax was sure it was about the alimentic lines of the women, although he hoped his uncle wasn't directly raping the women and just selling them to other people, although that really wasn't any better.
Oh, not at all.
Also, what do you think about Edwin being so unconcerned about the Vanishers being taken down and being sure there's no evidence against him?
I'm still convinced there's somebody working in the freaking
Constables or something, I think you said?
yeah.
So Edwin points out a headline in a broadsheet that shows that House Techiel is on the brink of financial collapse after everything that happened. Wax realizes that Edwin funneled their finances into whatever he's working on, which is why their house was so destitute. And now they had been doing insurance fraud in regards to bringing down House Techiel. Edwin states that everything has worked out perfectly for him. So yeah, what do you think about Edwin and his associates at the set making money off House Techiel's downfall, and how everything worked according to their plan, apparently?
I mean, the fact that it worked. Go on, Marcus.
So weird that it was just like, I know it's not just insurance fraud, but like that's depicted as one of the main reasons is.
Well, considering the set, based on what Miles has said, it sounds like they're all probably pretty high up nobles. It makes sense that probably they are funding a lot of this from either their houses and also like all of the like noble-y stock trades and like insurance stuff. Like they're funding it through like ways that nobles and higher higher class people generally would kind of get financial means illegally. Like they're not just stealing shit, they're actually like doing like what would be considered like upper class fraud. What were you gonna say, Mythic?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Oh.
What was the question again?
The question was, what did you think about how Edwin kind of said that everything turned out perfectly for them, like all to plan?
I mean, the fact that it worked, that they think this is plan is kind of crazy.
Yeah, because it sounds like they probably didn't want to continue working with the Vanishers too long. So like the Vanishers have done what they needed from them. They got them some of the women.
Just getting these girls, yeah.
Yeah, and also causing a big scene, which caused them to make money off of House Techiel falling. So obviously, probably who's ever in House Techiel is not involved in the set, unless they did a similar thing that Edwin did, which is take down their own house to funnel the money into the project, whatever project they're doing. Because Wax had always just thought his uncle was a gambler, and that's why all their money was gone.
Did he wear red?
That's a good question. Maybe that's where Wax got that from, is his uncle like is really known to wear a lot of red.
We need that professor back here.
I know, right? I mean, Marassi survives, so maybe we'll get more of her professors in the next book. So we switch back to Marassi's point of view as she watches Miles get shot at, his wounds healing even though he should have had no gold on him. Miles shouts, "The men of red and gold will come, the rulers of the final metal, and they will be ruled by those men." More bullets then shoot into Miles, but not all of the wounds heal fully. He obviously had one metal mine hidden somewhere that the constables hadn't found, but it was running out of gold. Miles calls out to worship Trell and wait as he finally dies. The constable runs up to double check that Miles has no pulse, but they still shoot him 3 more times in the side of the head just to be sure. Marassi looks away from the gruesome scene and just happens to see someone in the shadows watching, who then turns to leave. So first of all, who do you think these men of red and gold are?
The Ghost Bloods.
Dun dun dun. Do you agree, Darkness? Do you think they're the Ghost Bloods that he's talking about, or do you think it's some other group?
No, it's Ascended Parshendi.
The Parshendi have come to Scadrial. I see.
I have no idea, honestly.
Also, what do you think Miles means about these men being the rulers of the final metal when we supposedly know all of the metals now?
Do we?
Yes, we know all 16. I was actually gonna, if you wanted, when we finish the epilogue, I was gonna go through at the back of the book. There's the Ars Arcanum. Oh, okay. But yeah, so we have 16 metals. Well, I'll go through them for you, Myth.
I was gonna ask you if I fucked up because I read all of it.
No, that's fine. If it's at the back of the book, you were allowed to read it when the book is over. That is perfectly allowed.
You should, because there's quite a few that I did not know in there.
Yeah, I know. That's why I looked at it and I was like, we'll go through it after when we finish the epilogue and do like the book review.
Which is insane. Some of them are like, damn. But
yeah, some of the ferrochem powers are really cool. That's why I wanted to go through them. But as I said, we'll do that at the end. But yes, but those are all the metals that people of Scadrial know of. So Miles is saying there's a 17th metal that you guys don't know about. It's the final metal.
All the metals together. Melted together. It's all the metals melted together.
You think it's some like god alloy? Interesting.
Wait, no, that makes sense though.
Like some special.
Think about it, right? If you get
how they're gonna bring back the one god that No,
that's what I'm saying. Like if all the like shards put together were that one god, right? But all of those metals put together is just like a really cool god metal.
It could be. So we then switch back to Wax's point of view, as Wax insists that he's going to get the women back and figure out what his uncle is up to. Edwin just seems tired of Wax at this point, saying that he should be more in line with what Edwin wants, but he is a descendant of Breeze, and thus an important and powerful person. Wax reaches for his gun, but instantly hears men just outside the room cock their own guns and point them at him. Edwin calmly states that he has nearly 20 Allomancers on this train with him. Waxen throws a little temper tantrum. He angrily knocks the food and cutlery off the table and states that he will kill his uncle one day. Edwin tells the men to throw Wax off the back of the train. As he's grabbed, Wax's injuries flare with pain, and he knows today isn't the day to try to fight his uncle. He allows the men to throw him off the train and uses his allomancy to land next to the tracks. So what do you think of Wax's temper tantrum before the eventual reveal that he actually used it to take his uncle's notebook?
He needs to get his shit together.
What did you think of it at the time, Mythic?
Ask the question one more time.
What did you think of Wax's like temper tantrum of like knocking all of Edwin's like food and plates and everything off the table in the moment? Because like we later get told that like the reason he did that was to steal his uncle's notebook. But at this point, he just kind of looks like he's having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
I was like, really, Wax? That was my thought. I was like, really, dude? Chill the fuck out.
That's a little extra.
It's a little extra, but then we realize why it's extra.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but I was like, in the moment, I'm just like, I had forgotten that he used it to get the notebooks, because it's kind of like a small detail right at the end. So I was like, why the fuck are you acting like this, Wax? Get your shit together. You're a 40-year-old man. Or like 38,
like,
I don't know.
Uncle! And then he's like, throws everything on.
His uncle's just like, really? I was eating that.
Hilarious.
Right. So we switch back to Merassi's point of view as she feels unexpectedly encouraged to chase after the cloaked man. She eventually finds the tall man in an alleyway, waiting for her. He removes his hood to show a shaved head, tattoos around the eyes, and iron spikes where his eyes should be. One of his eye sockets looks like it was crushed at one point and then healed.
As soon as he showed up, I was like, oh, I know who this is!
Merassi instantly recognizes him as Iron Eyes. So what did you think of Marsh showing up?
I knew he was there.
It is awesome.
I love it. It's so badass.
At the first mention of Iron Eyes, I knew it was there.
I mean, I knew as soon as he said, I knew as soon as he showed up, and I was like, wait, okay. And then they said something about the spikes. I was like, yep, this is Marsh. There's no way it's not.
The final Inquisitor.
The final.
No one else it could be.
So Marsh apologizes for using emotional allomancy to call Merassi out here, saying that he was never good at it as Breeze was. Marsh then soothes Merassi to calm her, although she doesn't feel like she should be calm around Death himself. So Marsh has just taken the fucking moniker of he's basically the Grim Reaper on Scadrial. He is Death.
Oh my god, he's the Grim Reaper.
I love it. Marsh states that Wax is up to something dangerous, and he wishes to make sure Wax is well informed of what he's getting himself into, as Harmony will not help that way. Although he also states that what keeps Harmony from interfering more than he does also keeps Harmony from stopping Marsh from interfering himself. So what do you think about Marsh wanting to help Wax?
I wonder why, even though he explains that it reminds him of...
It reminds him of Kelsier, but it seems like also Harmony seems to like be playing favorites with Wax, and so it seems like Marsh and Harmony kind of like talk to each other. So he's like, although Harmony can't do more because of like the way his powers and everything works and like how he's kind of like supposed to be a balance, it also means he can't stop me from helping more.
I mean, technically, whatever. That's too much effort.
Yeah, also, what do you think about this relationship between Sazed and Marsh? Do you think like they hang out a lot? Do you think it's just like every once in a while?
Probably just every once in a while, to be honest.
We have tea every Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. Something simple like that, you know.
They just hang out. So what have you been doing? Well, I've been paying special attention to this guy named Wax, who's Breeze's ancestor. And Marshall's like, oh, really? Tell me more. He's like, yeah, I've been kind of like hanging out, watching over him. And Marshall's like, have you been like giving him more information? No, I can't. Okay, I'm gonna do it then.
I'm gonna go give him all the information.
Also, considering Kelsier is a cognitive shadow, and thus likely he's still alive within the cognitive realm, do you think that Kelsier and Sazed or Kelsier and Marsh are able to, like, hang out at all?
Yeah.
Like, do the brothers hang out? Do they know each other's alive? I mean, I'm assuming Kelsier knows Marsh is alive, but does Marsh know Kelsier's alive?
Well, is Kelsier or is Kelsier Hope?
Kelsier's
God.
Kelsier.
He's a god. Kelsier is a god.
He's Kelsier, though.
Midnight, you have no faith.
I am not a survivorist. Sorry, I'm a Pathian. I'm a Pathian, I'm sorry. I follow Harmony. I don't follow Trell. I don't follow the Survivor.
Follow you,
I don't follow the Lord Ruler. I follow Harmony. No, Harmony doesn't follow me. Harmony's his own god.
Oh, but he follows this motherfucker over here. Okay.
So Marsh hands Marassi a small black book, telling her that she can read it if she wishes, but to get it to Wax for him, as he worries Wax would try to shoot him if he went to Wax himself.
Yep.
Marsh also claims that Wax does Kelsier's work, and thus Marsh feels inclined to help him. Marassi then watches as Marsh pulls his hood back up and pushes himself up into the air as he leaves her alone in the alleyway. So do you think we're going to see more of Marsh in the coming books?
Hopefully not.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm lying.
I love Marsh so much. He's great. He was one of my favorite characters in, like, the first trilogy, and so I was so happy when I read this book, and I'm like, he came back. Yeah, Death himself. Death himself is my favorite character. Next to Harmony. Harmony and Death are my two favorites. And Mistborn.
Of course they are, you freaking edgy shirtless.
Also, what do you think is in this book that Marsh gave to Marassi? What sort of information do you think is in there?
Track records of his love life.
Okay.
The information of the Cosmere.
Damn, you think it's going to be like, here's the cognitive realm, this is what it does, there's other worlds out there, here's a bunch of information.
Here's the team you need to form for the future. Here's how to build a spaceship.
So we switch again back to Wax's point of view as he makes his way back to a nearby train station where Wayne was waiting for him. Wayne was reading a book that he had traded for an aluminum bullet. Wax thinks that at some point he needs to talk to Wayne about his trading. Wayne asks if it really was Wax's uncle, and Wax confirms this. Wayne, however, says he only owes Wax 5 of the owed 20 for the bet, as Wax should have been around to bet on whether Wax would join Wayne in fighting the Vanishers. Wax just replies that he'll be around from now on. They both then glance out towards Ellendale, and Wayne replies that the people have it rougher in the city than the people out in the roughs do. Wax says they'll have to stay, though, as he has things he needs to get done. Wayne agrees to stay then. Wax then shows off the pocketbook he stole from his uncle during the table sweep. Wax then vows himself to see this through. So what do you think about Wax and Wayne agreeing to keep working in the city for now?
I'm surprised about Wayne, but also not because he would have stuck with Wax, but I'm not surprised at all by Wax, though.
I see. And then we have book overview questions before we get into the Allomancer and Ferrokimi tables.
I hate that both of the names starts with W's because it makes me want to switch them up.
Which book, if any of them, do you think the women will be recovered in? So do you think the women will ever be recovered? And if so, do you think it's going to be the next book, the third book, or the fourth book? Do you think they're gone?
Yep.
I want them to be gone.
Okay, so they're just not coming back. He's going to get them, and they're like, oh, they're long dead. Sorry, dude.
I don't think they're dead. They're just gone. Like you're never
he's just never going to find them?
What if he shoved them into the fucking perpendicularity and was like, bye?
Their hideout's actually in Shadesmar. Oh my god, Kelsier's behind the set.
Yep.
Oh my god, he wants women.
Also,
he wants to meet his. Is it? No, it's his. How do I say this? His. What do you call when somebody works under you?
Subordinate.
Protege.
There you go.
Employee.
Protege's descendant.
Ah.
Oh, you mean Spook's descendants?
Yeah.
I see. You're
I'm
supposed
still
to hang out with
convinced that
them.
Spook's behind it.
Maybe. Kelsier could have told him how to become a cognitive shadow and be immortal.
It's all Spook's fault. Always.
Also, who do you think the final antagonist or bad guy will be for like the whole of these 4 books of Era 2? Do you think we've met them? Do you think we haven't met them? Do you think it's going to be Marassi?
We haven't met him yet, but...
Can you imagine how it'd be like if it was actually her the whole time?
It's going to be Sazed.
Sazed is the final bad guy?
Yeah.
What if he's having like a split personality moment?
Maybe. One side of him's preservation, one side's ruin.
Mm-hmm.
Ruin's
because
actually
there's an
behind
imbalance. There's an imbalance, so it's just like fighting each other now.
And also, what do you think the plot of specifically the next book is going to focus on? What do you think Shadows of Self is going to focus on?
The Self Shadows.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be each person's shadows killing each other.
What do you think, Darkness? What do you think the next book's going to be about?
Shadesmar.
Shadesmar?
Mm-hmm.
See.
How to know shadows.
Also, what do you think the overarching plot of this era will be? So what do you think is going to be like the main goal by the end of the 4th book? Do you think there's going to be like another world-ending disaster? Do you think there's
Yeah,
going to
the
be like...
people that the dude pulled up about, he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, they're coming. You're fine."
Always. Yep,
do you
they're
think
coming. They're gonna kill us all.
Do you think Miles is kind of like warning and foreshadowing is going to be about like the final bad guy, final like
Yeah,
plot hook of
the
like...
final countdown.
Not about final, but definitely be a big bad.
Also, do you think any of our main characters will die by the end of Mistborn Era 2? Like, do you think Marassi, Wax, or Wayne, or any of them are going to die by the end of the 4
They
books?
all die.
Wax
They're all
dies.
gonna die. They're all gonna die.
All right, so let's
I still
do
want Marassi to do that, like, fucking a huge scale, like,
speed bubble.
fast forward.
Oh, you think she's gonna like maybe survive and then like be in the next era because she just speed
Yeah.
bubbles herself into
Yeah.
Era 3?
Honestly, yeah.
That'd be pretty badass, honestly. Which I don't even know if she could do that, because like if they don't reveal it by the end of book 4, then I might not know, and it might just be revealed in book 3. Oh yeah, Marassi just speed bubbled herself up to this era. She's good. She's still around. So we're gonna quickly go through the metal reference chart. Some of these you guys will know. Some of them are a little new, especially some ferrochemy stuff. So we obviously have iron, which for allomancy pulls on nearby sources of metal, and for ferrochemy stores physical weight. We have steel, which for allomancy pushes on nearby sources of metal, and ferrochemy stores physical speed. Tin for allomancy increases the senses, and ferrochemy does basically the same thing. It stores senses. Pewter for allomancy increases physical abilities, and for ferrochemy it stores physical strength. For zinc in allomancy it riots emotions, and in ferrochemy it stores mental speed. Brass soothes emotions in allomancy and stores warmth in ferrochemy. Copper in allomancy hides allomantic pulses, and for ferrochemy it stores memories. Bronze allows one to hear allomantic pulses and stores wakefulness. Cadmium slows down time and stores breath, not breath from Warbreaker, but just like actual like air in your lungs. Bendalloy speeds up time and stores energy. Gold reveals your past self, so it specifies that. It's not showing you what you would be currently. It's showing specifically your past self, and it stores health for ferrochemy. Electrum reveals your own future, and for ferrochemy it stores determination. Chromium, which I don't think we got in Mistborn Era 1, for allomancy it wipes the elemental reserves of a targeted person. So you can like choose a subject and just it's like the opposite of aluminum, where instead of getting rid of your own allomantic reserves, it gets rid of their allomantic reserves. And in ferrochemy, it stores fortune. And so fortune, I believe I'm trying to remember if it's been brought up before, but fortune is a Cosmere term, which is similar to luck.
Yeah.
And it's an ability that can be granted to people. I think I've explained this before. This is how Wit is able to always be where he needs to be. He can tap fortune, and that's how he always knows where he's supposed to be at any time. Which is why he's always supposedly in like the middle of the plots of every book, is because he has a lot of fortune. So the allomantic power for Nikrosol, it enhances allomantic burn of target, so it's the opposite of Duralumin.
Renee, can you imagine if the reason why Allomancer got like shattered or whatever, right, just splintered or whatever, was because fucking Wit's bitch ass used the opposite of fortune, which is like he stored a bunch of fucking unluckiness or whatever, and it just shattered him.
Damn. And then the ferrochemical power of Nikrosol stores investiture. So Nikrosol, as a ferrochemist, can store just investiture in general, which is crazy.
Is it like any investiture?
So it seems like investiture comes in different forms depending on the shards. It seems like this can store just like raw investiture. So it can like, I don't know if, let me actually see if it says in here, Nikrosol, because it gives like a more of a, is it not? It doesn't tell you in here. But I'm wondering if it stores like like tethered or like unkeyed investiture. So like I'm wondering if you can like take allomantic reserves of investiture and use it for anything else. Like you could go to Warbreaker and use this investiture without breaths to do awakening. Or you could just go to Elantris, learn the Aeons, and use it to do Aeons. Like, you don't have to even be an Elantrian, potentially. I don't know the full, like, implications of Nikrosol metal mines. And then aluminum and duralumin ferrochemy is also crazy. So obviously for allomancy, aluminum wipes internal allomantic reserves, but for ferrochemy, it stores identity. And so identity is partially also what allows you to do the different investiture powers. So, like, Allomancy and Feruchemy, they're tied to your identity, which is, like, your, like, so you know how metal mines, you can't use someone else's metal mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, if you were a full feruchemist, you could store your identity in an aluminum metal mine, give it to someone along with your other metal mines, and they could use your metal mines. Because they now can tap into your identity.
Mm-hmm.
You could also give it to a non-feruchemist, and they could tap your identity, and then also use feruchemy as a non-feruchemist. Because they are tapping the identity of a feruchemist.
How do you tap the identity of a feruchemist if you're not a feruchemist?
I'd assume just wearing the aluminum metal mine would allow you to do it. And then there's Duralumum, which automatically enhances the next metal burned, and Feruchemy stores connection. And so connection is the, like, it's related to identity. It's kind of how, like, again, like, it's like not really a physical, but like, it's like a substantial energy that connects people together. So, like, the bond a Radiant has with their Spren is formed through connection.
I'm curious, right?
Mhm.
Because you're more interested in destroying investiture one for Nicholas, right?
Yes.
Let's say they go to the planet with the Radiant, and they just decide to, like, spike them.
To what? Sorry?
Spike them.
Spike them?
Yeah, spike them.
Oh, spike him.
Hemalurgy.
Sorry. Yeah. So we don't know how all of these, because remember, Hemalurgy works in slightly different ways, and because we have not seen Hemalurgy yet in Era 2, there is no Hemalurgy
Right,
chart
but
here.
it does say that, like, it steals investiture.
It stores investiture.
No, it steals investiture.
No, it stores investiture.
Does it not say steal?
I'm pretty sure it says stores. No, it stores. Everything in Feruchemy stores.
I said hemalurgy. That's what I said.
Hemalurgy.
Spike.
So you could spike someone. I don't know if you could steal investiture with a Nightcrystal spike. Like, as I said, Hemalurgy works differently. You could potentially spike
but it
someone.
Literally says right there. It says steals investiture.
Where are you seeing this?
In the metal quick reference check.
I'm seeing stores investiture.
No, it's the row right of it. Do you not have that, bro?
What are you talking about?
Here, let me show you.
Because I don't know if I do have the chart that you have. There's no
there's
no Hemalurgy listed in my.
I have a whole Hemalurgy list.
You have a Hemalurgy list in your Alloy of Law?
Look at it.
What the fuck? There's no Hemalurgy in my.
I've got steals mental Allomancy, steals temporal Allomancy, steals spiritual
Why do you have a Hemalurgy chart and I don't? That is crazy.
Awesome. I'm so happy we know more about stuff.
That is crazy. I can't even make it.
Might steal destiny is crazy.
Wait. I need to look this up. Wait. Because I can't read that properly.
I can read it. That's fine.
I can zoom it in.
Yeah, so can I.
How do I open in browser? There we go. Steals strength, steals physical allomancy, steals senses, steals physical feruchemy, steals emotional fortitude, steals cognitive feruchemy, steals mental fortitude, steals mental allomancy, steals temporal allomancy, steals spiritual feruchemy, steals physical feruchemy, steals enhancement allomancy, might steal. It says might steal destiny. What the fuck does that even mean? What does that mean?
Look,
what does that mean?
This is better.
Yeah, we've already talked about steals fortune. No, because fortune's kind of like luck. Is destiny? I feel like he would use the word fortune. He wouldn't use the word destiny. He would use the word might steal fortune.
Fortune and destiny were definitely different.
Yeah, that's what Jesus came over to look at this, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure destiny and fortune are very specifically different. And then steals investiture, removes all powers, and steals connection and identity. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not in ours. It's in his ebook for some reason, but it's not in ours. Jesus just picked up even like the third book, Bands of Mourning, and it's not in there. This Hemalurgy chart. Is it in the Lost Metal? When did they? Okay, so it's in the Lost. Why do you have the Lost Metal Ars Arcanum in Alloy of Law? They don't reveal this till Lost. You should not say that word. But yeah, obviously we wouldn't include those four.
I mean, I didn't hear Jesus, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does it here. Yeah, might steal destiny. Why the fuck did they give you the Ars Arcanum from fucking Lost Metal, which is the fourth book? Jesus Christ.
No, but I was
Oh,
also
also, it
thinking
also
about
gives you the god medals. It doesn't give you the god medals of Atium and Lerasium in mine.
it does give me the god
Yeah,
medals,
I'm
yeah.
surprised it gives you that because it doesn't give me that either.
And
It
it gives
gives,
me the hemalurgic stuff
yeah,
for
it
it
gives me
too.
those in Lost Metal again, but it does not even give me even the Ferrochemy and Allomancy of the god medals in my Alloy of Law book. Steal any
Oh.
power, steals all abilities. Why do you have like this enhanced fucking Ars Arcanum? Jesus Christ. That's
um
crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of implications, especially in the fucking hemalurgy shit. Light steel, I need to look. Chromium hemalurgy.
I'm gonna give you a chance to do that, and then I'm
It
just gonna
literally,
keep.
it literally, all it has in there is what is in your Ars Arcanum. Literally, the only thing under hemalurgy boost, when used as a hemalurgic spike, chromium might steal destiny. That's all it states. There is nothing. That is crazy.
You know the one that's like, oh, stores identity or whatever.
Yeah.
Would that work for a Colos?
Um,
Like a fully transformed Colos?
Let me see what it says on the identity. Because I'm trying to see. Yeah, so identity is a spiritual attribute within the Cosmere that demarcates one being from another, one from being another for the purposes of investiture. It acts as sort of a spiritual DNA as it functions together with connection in order to form a link to various forms of investiture. So that is the definition of identity in the Cosmere.
Right, but would it work to like
Well, I mean,
better?
I don't. Does it change you I feel like it says specifically it's for investiture. So I don't know. I guess it would. Would it if you're a transformed Kolos with spikes? Would it? I'm assuming it would allow you, but you don't have the spikes. I'm not sure if it would work for Kolos because it's specifically an investiture thing.
But Colos have investiture, right?
Well, I think Kolos-blooded people don't technically have investiture. They're just like hardier people. They're not necessarily invested.
No, but I'm talking about like fully transformed Colos. Because you
Well,
know how when they make Colos by spiking
I
people?
think maybe what it would allow you to do is it would allow you to use someone's identity, spike yourself, because the thing is, Kolos aren't invested without the spikes. The spikes are what is invested. So I think you'd have to spike yourself as well as have the stolen identity, but then maybe you could remove the spikes and then not be a transformed Kolos after using the identity. I'm not really sure, but I think you would still need to have the Kolos spikes because Kolos specifically need the spikes to be invested. They're not like naturally invested.
No, but I'm saying if you let's say you have your identity in the thing, right? And then
Yes.
you choose to become a spiked Colos, like a full on
Oh, I
transformed
see.
and everything.
Okay.
And then you know how I would assume it would be like all the people's like spirits or whatever fighting against each other to try and like maintain a
Well,
sense
I
of
think the way
identity.
Kolos work now is they're not multiple souls in one body. They're just spiked humans that become this monstrosity. They no longer merge multiple people into one.
So is it just one person?
It's just one person
Oh, so they keep
for
their
Kolos. So, but the thing is, it does change their personality, though, being spiked. So I'm assuming maybe you could, like, regain your. Because they say, like, specifically that Kolos, like, in exchange, when they get spiked, in exchange for being, like,
they
stronger, bigger,
go to their
all
base.
this stuff, they, like, kind of, like, become more animalistic. Like, they lose kind of some of their humanity while doing that.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah, you could, if you had, like, an identity stored bracer from before you became a Kolos, I mean, you would obviously still only have a limited amount of that because it depends how much you have stored in metal mines. But for a time, you could probably act as you had before being spiked.
Would Allomancy and stuff not pass over?
I don't know because I don't think we've seen a allomantic or ferrochemic Kolos.
Because like the dude that was like
He
half
was
Kolos,
yeah, because he was
right?
Kolos blooded and he had
Right. But if he were to
pewter.
transform, would he have kept his
I
shit, right?
don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know.
Because think about it, right? Let's say you do have the identity like ferrochemy stuff, but you're also allomantic or whatever. Would you just be able to farm that identity stuff and then just permanently keep yourself aware?
I'm not sure.
Also, do they go into detail on like in like paragraphs of each?
They do for
Uh,
some of them, not for all of them in Alloy of Law. They talk about aluminum, bendalloy, brass, bronze, cadmium, chromium, copper, duralumin, electric, gold, iron, nickel, pewter, steel, tin, zinc. And then it has a little bit about the three metallic arts.
is that not all of them?
I think it only talks about them, I think, as Because I think I was looking for the one specific one at one point, and it wasn't there. Where is it? The store's identity? Oh, they did have aluminum in here.
They do have aluminum. It's the first one.
Oh, it is. True self variants can store their spiritual sense of identity in an aluminum metal mind. This is not really spoken of outside the terrorist communities, and even among them it is not yet well understood. Aluminum self and a few of its alloys are elementically inert. They cannot be pushed or pulled and can be used to shield individuals.
It speaks first as like
Yeah, I think I got confused because it speaks first as like Mistings and Mistborn.
Yeah, and then it does the ferrogamies, and then
But it doesn't give me any hemalurgy.
No.
That
Cadmium was interesting for me.
Gasper pharynx can store breath inside a cadmium metal mine. During active storage, they must hyperventilate in order for their bodies to get enough air. The breath can be retrieved at a later time, eliminating or reducing the need to breathe using the lungs while tapping the metal mine. They can also highly oxygenate their blood. What's the one that talks about storing fortune? Fortune was chromium.
It's right there. It's below it.
Well, it's the next page for me.
Oh.
Spinner pharynx can store fortune in a chromium metal mine, making themselves unlucky during active storage and can tap it at a later time to increase their luck.
Where's the identity one?
That was the aluminum one. I talked about that one already.
Right.
Duralumin was connection. Connector pharynx can store spiritual connection in a duralumin metal mind, reducing other people's awareness and friendship with them during active storage, and can tap it at a later time in order to speedily form trust relationships with others.
The Nicrosil one is crazy. The description for
the what? Wait, the what?
Nicrosil.
The Nicrosil?
Nicrosil.
The what? What was it? Darkness?
Nicrosil, I guess.
What did you say though? What did you say?
Nicrosil. Soul Bearer pharynx can store investiture in a Nicrosil metal mind. This is a power that very few know anything about. Indeed, I'm certain the people of Terrace don't know what they are doing when they use these powers. Okay, that's very ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's like, yeah, the Ars Arcanum is pretty cool. Yours is even better. You get the really cool one right at the start, apparently, Darkness. Which is crazy. I can't believe you got a hyped up metal or hyped up Ars Arcanum right in the first book. All right, you guys ready to go into Allomancer Jack, or did you have anything else you wanted to theorize about?
Confusing as fuck. I hated that book.
I enjoy it. I think it's silly.
There you go. You have your full-on chart.
Yeah, thanks. I already saved it to my computer.
I mean, Miles is claiming there's another metal, so the final metal.
Yep, so we're waiting on to see what melting all of the metals together will do.
So if there's a final metal, right? It's got to have a. Does it have to have an opposite?
No, I feel like if you make it an alloy of everything, then
yeah, because if it's an alloy of everything, technically its opposite is everything. Is all of the other metals.
So think about it. What if you take it and then you get all of these abilities, just burning one metal, every ability? You're a god now.
Wait, how many do we have here in the chart?
16. I believe there's 16 plus the god metals don't count towards the 16. I believe 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 16 plus god metals. God metals do not count as part of the 16.
Okay, but what if it's just another god metal?
If it's another god metal, that means another shard would have to be involved.
Exactly. What if that just means
we have other gods. So.
Yeah.
What if that just means fucking?
Do you think Trell's a different shard then?
It's an itty bitty shard.
It's an itty bitty shard. What shard do you think Trell would be?
Destiny. Imagine.
What ones do we have again? We have well, we know it can't be Devotion or Dominion because they're dead. It can't be Honor because Honor's dead. There's Cultivation. There's Odium. There is Autonomy also dead? I think Autonomy's also dead. There is no, sorry, not Autonomy. It's Ambition that's dead. Autonomy's still alive. Autonomy's the White Sand God. There is what other gods do you guys know? You don't know that one yet. I mean, obviously, Preservation and Ruin can't be the shards because we already have those god metals. Are there any other ones? Oh, there's also Endowment from Warbreaker. I think those are all the gods you know.
You forgot Hope.
Hope is not a shard. Whether you think Hope is a god or not, he would be a god outside of the shards of Adonasium.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a shard.
I wonder if there is gods out of the shards, or is it just the shards themselves? Was Adonasium a god because he was a shard?
No, Adonasium was a full god. All of the shards are partial gods, technically. They are not one full god, because Adonasium was the one full god. They are just a piece of him. It's okay. Adonasium will remember our plight eventually. Don't worry about it. So yeah, Allomancer Jack. Actually, no, I wanted to hear your theories. You guys were saying that you might think one of the shards is a god, or one of the the metal is potentially a god metal.
I mean, it could be.
I'm just going by the fact that I think it all gets melted together and makes one
That's fair.
mega metal.
Also, do you think we're going to see more Atium and Lerasium come back? Because we've not seen any Atium or Lerasium. Also, do
No.
Atium and Lerasium exist now that Ruin and Preservation are not separate shards?
No more. It's gone.
What if it's just both of them?
Do you think there's like a combined metal?
Oh yeah, maybe that's the metal that he's talking about.
Yeah,
Combining the two of those.
Combining the god metals into one god metal, since Harmony is now the combination.
Yeah, or he made his own. Yeah,
Would it be like Cesium, since the god metals are named after the vessels and not the shard name?
Cesium?
Cesium.
Oh my god, what if he named it after his not wife?
Oh, Tindwillium?
Ew.
Alright, let us move on to Allomancer Jack, even though Mythic doesn't want to. We're doing it anyways.
Fuck that shit. Fuck that. What?
So we start with Allomancer Jack waking up in a cold, dark cave. He remembers fighting a Koloss challenger who he claims was as big as a steam engine, and he took them down with a bullet to the eye. Handerwim knows this was the outcome as his foolhardy plan to become king of the Koloss and get closer to the survivor's treasure. Allomancer Jack also comments that he has injuries, but they aren't as bad as when he was tied to a metal bust of the survivor and sinking in the ocean. Although Handerwin notes that at the time, Jack had claimed it was a bust of the Lord Mistborn, not of the survivor. Just inconsistent with his stories.
Always. Because it's all lies. You can't stay consistent when they're lies.
Jack then glances around, giving an over-the-top description of the cave he was in. Handerwin notes that Jack considers himself caught, even though he hasn't even tried to walk out of the cave yet, but mentions that it is common for Jack to awaken in captivity with a headache. Jack then finally walks forward to the mouth of the cave he was in to see he was up high on a canyon wall with no way down. On the other side of the canyon was blue Koloss with stretched skin, patched with skin of the dead that they had killed and eaten. Handerwin, however, notes the Koloss no longer use the skin of others on themselves, and accounts of them eating people are greatly exaggerated. So what were your first impressions of Jack and Handerwim?
I fucking love
Handerwim?
Yeah, him.
Honestly, it's Handerwim's comments that make me love this story. He's
Yeah.
just like, actually.
I like when he's
I think
like,
that's the only good thing about this whole book. Yeah.
You need more Handerwim, less Jack.
I like when he's like, the people reading my
like
comments, are the ones that are here for like the right reasons.
Yeah, he's like, I can't understand the people who read this without my comments when they get published to the broadsheets, because apparently the broadsheets don't have the footnotes. This is like a separate thing that he puts together and publishes. Oh, that's great. Also, what do you think about how the Koloss no longer use the skin of humans on themselves? They only use their own skin or leather.
Interesting. I don't believe it, but it's interesting.
I mean, Handerwin says it's true, and you can trust Handerwin.
Okay.
Jack's the one who thinks they still use other people's skin. So Jack then shouts at the Koloss, asking where they are keeping a woman named Elisandra, whom Jack claims is very beautiful. The Koloss just ignored him. Jack worries about what happened to Elisandra, and Handerwim as he hadn't seen either of them. Handerwin notes that he had been sleeping on a very comfortable bed provided by the Koloss. Apparently the Koloss made a vow to not harm the Terrace people, which Handerwim notes they discovered a few episodes ago, and that Handerwim is very interested in learning more about. So why do you think the Koloss like the Terrace people so much?
Why would they like the Terrace people so much?
I have a theory, but I'm going to wait to hear your guys' theories first.
What was the question again?
Why do you think the Koloss seem to like the Terrace people so much? They apparently very much like the Terrace people.
Oh, I have no idea, to be honest.
No idea.
Maybe they're just grateful to their god.
Well, yeah, what I was going to say is I think that Sazed they specifically know somehow, or like either Sazed talked to them, or like they know that Sazed is the one who basically gave them their ability to reproduce and gave them back their like bodily autonomy and stuff like that. So I feel like that's why they like the Terrace people, because Sazed was Terrace.
Yeah.
That's my only kind of like theory on why they would like the Terrace people.
Which is kind of biased, like it's not very nice.
All the Koloss are Pathians.
That makes sense, you're a Koloss.
Hmm?
So that makes sense, you're a Koloss.
Wow. I am not a Koloss. Look at me, I look like an Elantrian.
She's too short to be a Koloss.
I am too short to be a Koloss. I can't be a Koloss, I stopped growing many years ago. I'd be so much taller if I was a Koloss. You guys bully me up, I'm just gonna spike myself and grow really big.
A Koloss horse.
Not a Koloss horse. Just
oh my
a
god.
normal Koloss.
Like, no, but imagine a Koloss horse.
I know you're obsessed with horses being
Oh my god, I
invested.
need it. Okay, it's gonna sound very weird, but I need a
everything.
Koloss to fuck with a Rhyshadium.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
And that has to be the base of the horse.
And then you hemologically spike them as well.
Yes.
So Jack then mentions how the Colas have taken his gun, Glint, and his metal vials while he was unconscious. He wonders if the Colas think he keeps his metal shavings in whiskey, as some rough people do, but Jack insists he needs to keep a clear mind because he's a gentleman. Handerman brings up how Jack has just talked about how he drank whiskey at waist stops, though. Jack also mentions that he has a pouch of tin hidden in the heel of his boot, but it had been knocked out during his earlier scuffle. Jack then states the heel compartment was made by Renette. So what do you think about Jack's indirect slight towards Wax keeping his metals in whiskey?
Why does it always gotta be drinks? Why not just like bite a sandwich and then bite into metal?
I mean, you could, but I think it's faster to do like a shot of something. They used to do shots of water, metal shavings. Now apparently they do shots of alcohol.
Which is valid, honestly.
Apparently Jack looks down on Wax for that. But Wax is like, why would you do it any other way? This is the best. What do you think? This is a better way, Mythic? Wax's or Jack's way?
Honestly, I hate Jack, so it has to be Wax's way.
Also, what do you think about apparently Jack's a customer of Renette?
What does that even mean?
Well, because remember, Renette doesn't like make shit for everyone. So like apparently Jack says that he got his like this weird compartment in his shoe made by Renette for him, and possibly also his guns were made by Renette. So yeah, apparently he's a customer of hers as well. She thinks she also points her gun at him whenever he shows up at her place for stuff.
No, probably not.
I feel like she definitely does.
I feel like she points at it even more, with more reason.
She's probably just as annoyed with him as she is with Wayne, honestly.
You think so?
I feel like she would be. I feel like she's concerned she likes her privacy. She's probably like, stop fucking mentioning me in your fucking stories in these newspapers. Just shut up.
I feel like it'd be a lot worse.
She's like, next time you put me in the paper, I'm gonna shoot you. He's like, yeah, sure. I'll get Handerwin to come get shit from you.
Yeah. Shoot him too.
Jack then begins feeling around his dark cavern for anything of note until he finds a vein of metal in the wall. He also notes that he's almost become invisible, which Handerwin states Jack refuses to let him remove that from the writing, because he's like, there's no way you became almost invisible, dude. He also goes on about how he doesn't want glory, but Handerwin does not agree with that statement. Jack then claims that that honesty is his greatest virtue, so he tells the readers that he licks the wall to try to see if the metal is tin or not. Apparently the vein of metal is tin, as per Jack's account, although Handerwin claims that this is highly unlikely. So yeah, what did you think about Jack including this note about licking the wall, considering it potentially didn't even happen, or at least was not tin and gave him nothing from it?
He had to try, and he did.
Your thoughts, Mythic? About the tin licking?
I mean,
the wall licking.
The fact that everything he says is,
it's very
fake.
exaggerated
Bullshit.
and some straight up lies. So using the supposed tin, Jack hears a stream below him and a crow on a branch above him. He glances up and claims to see a reoccurring talking bird called Lindip that Jack claims to be his spirit guide sent by the survivor. Adoram notes that he has never seen the supposed talking bird and thus cannot confirm its existence. Jack also states he thinks Lindip to be a Khandra, but Handerwin claims that faceless immortals are mythological and also not part of the survivor religion, but the Pathian religion. So what do you think about this talking bird who's a possible Khandra who works for Kelsier, even though the Khandra aren't even mentioned in Kelsier's religion?
Doesn't he work for? I mean, I feel like he works for everybody.
The only Khandra that ever worked for Kelsier is dead because Tensoon killed him.
Mm-hmm.
He killed him like right off the bat, no?
He killed him, I think, technically right at the start of book 2. I think we get like a single scene with Oriser, and then Tensoon like literally kills him right after that.
That's sad.
But also, what do you think about the fact that Handerwin doesn't think the Khandra are real? So obviously the Khandra aren't just like hanging around and doing shit like the Koloths are. They are so warily seen that people don't even know if they're actually real or not anymore.
Maybe it's not that they're hiding, but it's just that they're naturally hiding,
They're obviously not doing contracts for people anymore.
Well, the contracts were the Lord Ruler's things, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Can't do contracts if the contractor's dead.
Dad's dead. Mom's also dead. Because they called Vin, like, Tensoon tried to convince everyone that Vin was mom after the Lord Ruler died. And they're like, nah. And then Vin also died, so mom's also dead.
Stepdad?
Is Say's now technically dad, I guess?
Is he dad or is he
He's fun uncle.
great grandson?
Maybe he's fun uncle.
How is he fun uncle if they're probably older than him by like a shit ton?
That's true. Grandson, great grandson is now in charge. So Jack then asks Lindip if Alexandra is okay, which Lindip insists she is, but that Jack must escape soon to help her. Hanram again makes a note that he thinks Jack may just be hallucinating during this scene due to his head trauma. Jack also asks Lindip why the Koloss turned on him, which Lindip replies that it is likely because Jack killed the Challenger with a gun. Jack calls them savages, and Handerwim mentions that he doesn't like the term savages because his people had been called that in the past, but Jack had sincerely once told him he was glad to have a savage as a friend, so Handerwim had just never told him how insulting being called a savage was. Jack then asks how he was brought up to the cavern, and Lindip states that Jack was thrown into it. Handerwim, however, thinks that Jack was likely lowered from above since the cavern entrance was a lot closer to the top of the canyon than it was to the bottom. Jack then realizes that there is a storm coming and that the canyon is likely to fill with water, which will help him with his escape. Jack then claims to seal this writing in a waterproof pocket before jumping into the water. Handerwim notes that many readers are worried for Jack's demise, even though he often left them on cliffhangers like this, where he seemed like he would die. Jack then starts the second part of his story with warning people to not jump into flash flood rivers like he had unless they are in life or death situations. Handerwim seems to doubt Jack's account of this, as he often survives whitewater-style situations, but only when Handerwim is not around to see it. Once Jack had gotten to the bank of the river, he is instantly captured again by 6 medium-sized Koloss, who drag him over to some trees in a rocky area. In the area of trees was a deep oasis shaped like a spearhead. The water dripping off of Jack caused stone footprints to appear in the dust. As Jack continues to describe the area, Handerwim notes how surprised he was that Jack's accounts seemed to be correct. Handerwim can only think that Harmony finds it funny to allow a person like Jack to find such amazing places and treasures. Jack is then dropped off in front of some ancient Koloss, who are so large they are wrapped in leather as their skin had completely burst off of them. Jack mentions that in olden times, Koloss this old would have been killed by now, but instead they were now revered by the other Koloss. So do you agree that Harmony likely is just amused by Jack, which is why Jack is able to like basically survive all these things, even though he's really fucking stupid?
Yeah. What can you imagine Sage just being like a super fan?
I just imagine Sage being like, "This is my entertainment. I need people like this around to keep me sane. Let me just watch him do stupid shit, and I'll just make sure he survives." Do you agree, Mythic? Do you think Allomancer Jack is one of Sage's favorites?
Yeah, probably.
I just find it funny. Sage is just like, they haven't invented TV yet, so I'm just gonna watch this guy instead.
I don't think he could say that because how would he know what TV is if they
Well,
haven't
no, because
invented
he knew a bunch of technology that they hadn't discovered yet. That's how they've learned about electricity and stuff. He put a whole bunch of stuff being like, hey, we're really behind in technology compared to where we should be. And because like, as we've talked about before in Stormlight, a lot of the gods can see into the future. So Sage is able to see into the future, and he's like, ah, shit, look at all this cool stuff that people can do in the future. Based on how I can tell that technology improves, if it wasn't for the Lord Ruler, we'd have some of this shit already, so let me just give you like a little like hint towards some stuff. So he probably does know about TV. So the ancient Kolossans say that Jack must be killed by the daughter of the one he killed, and then he must join them. Jack mentions how the Koloss can be made from any human, and they are stabbed with multiple small spikes to turn them into Koloss. Handerwim confirms this information. It is then revealed that Elisandra is Koloss-blooded and the daughter of the champion. Jack is shocked, as to him, all Koloss and Koloss-blooded are dim-witted, but Handerwim states that any Koloss-blooded that have not accepted the transformation are just as intelligent as any other human. So great job on being racist, Jack! Elisandra then begs Jack to look past her heritage and to accept her. Handerwim notes that Alexandra had laughed at this part of Jack's recounting, but it is true that she did hide her Koloss heritage from them originally. Elisandra then tells Jack that because he passed the test of the Koloss, they wanted to make him their true chief and thus turn him into a full Koloss. Handerwim notes that Koloss have Koloss-blooded children, asked to choose if they want the transformation or not on their 12th year. If they choose to not transform, they are sent to live in human society. Handerwim also notes that many humans choose to join Koloss tribes and take the transformation even though they weren't born Koloss-blooded. So what do you think about how any human can become a Koloss? Apparently some people just choose to.
Stupid. Who would want to be a Koloss?
I don't know. Some people apparently do. What do you think about that, Darkness?
Being a Koloss would be cool.
2
opposite ends of like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, what do you think about the fact that Koloss are now able to have children, and these children are mostly human?
I don't know how like the biology of it works.
I'm assuming it's like similar to human biology, except the way like Koloss work is they don't stop growing. So like how like humans stop growing kind of like in their late teens, early 20s. Koloss just don't stop that. They continuously have like the ability to keep growing like you do throughout your childhood.
Huh. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. So that takes my dad can beat up your dad to a whole nother level.
Oh my gosh. Also, apparently they just throw them out at 12 years old. They're like, hey, either become a Koloss or get the fuck out when they're 12.
That's valid. People go out to like train Pokemon at 10, so.
To train Pokemon. So Jack, to avoid the transformation, then claims he is already a Koloss because he was strong enough to slay their chief. The Koloss, however, refute this as they're like, no, it was because you shot him. It's not because you're stronger. So Jack claims that he will get the treasure of the survivor to prove how strong he is. The Koloss don't think this is possible, and Jack also thinks that he may die trying this. Alessandra kisses Jack, which he is shocked by, and Jack then jumps into the pool of water with a large rock to help drag him down to the bottom. Jack somehow finds a metal box at the bottom of the pool of water, but is unable to lift it. Jack then quotes the poem again about the treasure, which Handarin notes that he keeps quoting it differently each time he mentions it. And he breathes into a sack attached to the metal box. Handarin states that a lungful of air likely would not do much and to just ignore this part.
Yeah, No, he didn't even say ignore this part. He said stop reading, and I was like, okay.
Well, he said if you're a mathematician, you should stop reading. Otherwise,
yeah, exactly. I was like, all right, bye.
Jack then floats back up to the surface of the pool and is pulled out by Alessandra. What did you think about the solution, apparent solution to the riddle of the poem, which is just breathe into this like sack attached to the metal box?
It came out of his mouth, so I don't believe it at all.
The Koloss shout that Jack has failed, but suddenly the air sac floats to the top and Jack pulls out the metal box. Alessandra produces a key that they had found in another location, and of course it fits and unlocks the box. Inside is a bunch of Koloss spikes, which the Koloss loudly celebrate. Jack is not so enthused by the treasure, but Alessandra states that this will allow her small tribe of Koloss to grow and would likely allow Jack and Alessandra to keep their lives. They then flee the canyon, leaving Handerwim behind. So yeah, what did you think of the treasure of Koloss spikes?
That's interesting, but also would it really matter if they could just fuck?
Well, they can fuck as much as they want. They still need the spikes to do the transformation.
Oh.
Because remember, they kick you out if you're not spiked by the age of 12.
So what if there's not enough spikes though? They just kick you out?
Yeah, you just get kicked out. There's no spikes for transformation.
That's bullshit.
Get fucked. Hopefully someone dies before the next kid ages up.
Not if I kill them first.
Yeah, maybe if you're 12 years old and there's no spikes and you want to get spiked, you have to go kill one of the elders.
That's awesome.
It seems very Koloss traditional. That's how they used to do it to make new Koloss, was just kill off other Koloss and take their spikes.
Yep.
Also, do you think this treasure is actually from Kelsier, or is it just left there by someone else?
I think it's just left there, to be honest.
Not really sure why Kelsier would just leave a box of Koloss spikes in a really deep pool of water.
Yeah.
It seems a little silly. So Jack and Alessandra then take the box without the spikes back with them, and Jack soon realizes that it is made of pure aluminum, and thus worth thousands. Alessandra kisses him again to celebrate. Jack then mentions that he will rest before his next adventure, which is likely going to be to search for strange lights in the southern skies. Handerwin notes that his next test will be to try to get Jack to use proper punctuation for once. So yeah, what do you think about the Allomancer Jack story?
Just dumb and confusing.
It was quite interesting. I enjoyed it very much, especially the part where he licked walls.
He loved the wall licking. The one nice thing about this is we get a little bit more information about Koloss, which I think is nice, which is one of the main reasons that it's good to read the story. But yeah, it's definitely, I can see why certain people definitely do not like the story. I just find it fun, but I could definitely see why you would dislike it.
It's confusing. I don't understand why it had to be so confusing.
Again, I think it's just the audiobook format really doesn't work well for this style of book, or this style of story. So I'm not surprised you found it extra confusing.
Every time he said, no, by the way, let's go back to this one. And I'm like, I can't go back to that one. There's no such thing as that one.
Yeah, we're officially done with book 1 of Mistborn Era 2. We will be recording our Shadows of Self trailer, but for this episode, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to our Patreons, Hubris, Kaladin Dies in Book 3, and Kyle. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye!
Bye!